Hey there, dog lover. Do you want to make certain that your Cyber Mastiff gets nothing but the finest treatment, only the best belly rubs and treats every day of his long life? Yes, of course you do. But don't you also want to make certain your dog can eviscerate a heretic like this? Well, then I have the build for you. Hello everyone, introducing the Houndmaster. The Houndmaster is a build that focuses on taking every single way we could possibly augment our lovely little pupper's damage, and he becomes sort of the star of the show. To an extent, right? He can only do so much considering he can't hold a bolter and all that, but he does pretty dang good for himself. I'm going to show you all the ways we can make him crazy. Before I do that, make certain you're subscribed and ring the notifications. Is that still a thing? Whatever you need to do in order to see more videos like this and lots of awesome Darktide content. I appreciate you. Okay, let's go on. The melee weapon here is the Shock Maul. Let's first get the bolter out of the way, actually. The bolter is just for finishing off bosses, getting rid of bosses. Boss damage is sort of where this class falls short. We don't have a lot of consistent, strong boss damage. The bolter can shore that up for us. Everything else is going to fall apart with our little bonky Shock Maul and with some charges and with the dog and all that good stuff. The bolter is just for those big, large targets. So you'll see me pull it out a couple times in the gameplay in order to get rid of those guys. But other than that, we're sticking with our little Bonk Maul. The Bonk Maul is very important here. It gives us the Skull Crusher Blessing. If you just recently watched my video on the Hunter, the interaction today is going to work pretty much the exact same. We can still use that cooperation between the Bolt Gun and the Shock Maul to get some serious boss damage going on, but you can also use the Shock Maul to boost your dog's damage, because why wouldn't it, right? It makes the enemies take 40% more damage, so then you send the dog in on them, you detonate your dog charge, whatever you need to do, and they do some crazy, crazy damage. You can pop a Crusher in seconds with this combination. For Curios, we have ourselves some toughness and some stamina. As I've said all week, this is just generally one of the best setups in the game, and we want combat ability regen and stamina regen. The last third slot there is up to you. I recommend revive speed or gunner damage resistance, or maybe even bomber damage resistance with how many flame bombers are in the new event. So that is it, and I'll hover over these weapons one more time for you to see. We want Unyielding and Carapace, so we can get through those larger targets. All right, going on to the talent tree here. We are taking No Escape at the top. Over here on the left, we're taking our first Dog Augment, the Razor Jaw Augment. This is going to make enemies knocked away by your Cyber Mastiff's pounce have bleeds applied to them. So let me show you how this works. Players seem to think that it means that the target that's pounced is going to get 8 bleed stacks, but no, it's in fact this target, the one that's knocked away. See that? So this guy's bleed stacks and this guy doesn't. And so that is what the strength of this skill is. Now, this doesn't look like a whole lot on paper, or like with that little demonstration there, but when you have multiple enemies grouped up, and the dog starts to pounce them in quick succession, he finishes them off in quick succession, you start to see those bleeds get stacked up on enemies, and it tends to kill them in large order. Bleeds are great at finishing off enemies that we just need like 1 or 2 more damage to kill as well. So just some nice passive damage, makes you better at clearing hordes and grouped together enemies. Up close and Force of Will, that's for us. That's a selfish choice so we can keep our toughness nice and high. And then we've got Man and Cyber Mastiff. Because the dog is the focus of the build, we're hanging out near our pupper all the time, and he's going to regenerate our toughness for us. And then we've got Remote Detonation, the dog-related blitz. Remember to always tell your dog where to go before you detonate it, and then let him have it. It can be a great way to get the dog to latch onto a boss and detonate it, but the only problem with this skill is making certain the dog is in the correct position before you send the ability out. Because a lot of times you'll activate it and it'll be like nowhere near where you need it to be, and whoops, that happens to me all the time. Then over here we got Concussive. If you remember from my other builds, or maybe you haven't seen it, but Concussive works alongside the stagger from the Skull Crusher Blessing here on this staff. So we don't have to stagger the enemies at all. We just have to tap them once in the head and once anywhere else in the body. And this guy is counting his stagger. He's taking 40% increased damage. You can't see it, but he's taking a bunch of extra damage for those 4 seconds there. So very, very powerful alongside our little bonk staff here. And then we've got Voltaic Mandibles. Voltaic Mandibles is the single strongest DPS increase the dog can get. Well, that's not true. The Keystone is the single strongest, but this doubles his damage on top of that because it makes him electrocute enemies when he attacks them for 5 seconds. And this is so, so powerful because it locks down enemies like this, where they won't be able to do anything while they're being shocked. And that is awesome because larger enemies like that are just annoying. Crushers are done with. The Bulwarks can't keep their shield up, and Reapers can't shoot while it's going on. So very, very strong augment. And if you'll notice here, once the dog has done that, look, the damage that he's taking from the shock stacks is much, much higher. It's 127 versus 81 because of bonking him with the stack, or with the little shock maul a couple times. Very cool stuff. Coming down here, we've got Imposing Force and Canine Morale. The dog, when he kills targets that he's pounced, he gives everybody toughness damage reduction, everybody on the team that's within coherency, and some little bit of toughness over time, and he's going to give you a damage resistance buff, a huge damage resistance buff anytime you kill elites or specialists, which is awesome because we have used this talent right here, Unleash Brutality, to tell him that we need to be targeting elites and specialists. Very, very cool. Part of the squad is the aura here. It's just additional toughness damage reduction, and it makes the dog count as part of the team for coherency regen, even though that's not that big a deal. Coming down here for Break the Line we are taking for one reason, which is it has this Kill Order augment on it. Kill Order is 50% damage for your Cyber Mastiff for 12 seconds after using your combat ability. With a 20-second base cooldown, that's got a pretty good uptime, right? Certainly much better than Castigator's stance, 75% increased damage, but remember the uptime on this is much, much lower. But what if I told you we can make that cooldown way shorter? Remember, we are using cooldown reduction Curios, and we've got the cooldown reduction talent on the charge there. So actually that didn't do the full thing. I must not have hit them solid. But when you get a good charge on enemies, your cooldown can be like 8 seconds. It can be super, super short. So that is one way of making our cooldown 12 seconds, and then we can lower it further with our keystone down here. So we can have that buff near constantly for a dog. There you go. See, that cooldown is 12 seconds. So that buff, that 50% buff, we got it all the time, which is a huge increase in damage for the dog. Over here, we've got Hold the Line, Emperor's Fist, and Target the Weak. These two are selfish. They're just for our own personal bonking damage. But these two, well, they are still selfish, but the dog can stack them for us. So extra damage on successful attacks, and getting enemies staggered grants you melee damage resistance. So enemies get staggered by the electricity effect like this, and you can see that buff pop up there, as well as the other buff for that increased damage. So right now I've just gotten 15% increased damage, and I've got myself 15% melee damage resistance because of the dog attacking the enemy one time. Coming over this way, we're going to grab Arbites, Revelatum, Zealous Dedication, and then we're into the Keystone, which is sort of the cream on top of the pie. I don't know what that fucking saying is. Execution Order makes the enemies around the arena get marked. I gotta turn off my invisibility for a second to get them marked. Okay, so you see all these blue enemies over here? These enemies are marked. When you attack and kill one of these enemies, you're gonna get 15% of your toughness back. But additionally, when you kill them, you're going to get 15% damage and 10% attack speed, and your dog gains an additional plus 150% Cyber Mastiff damage, which means he's going to be doing 2.5x damage when he attacks one of these targets. Now, all this together, the damage from this, the damage that we can augment with our shock maul, the damage from right here, makes this dog eviscerate enemies. I'm going to show you in a second. And then finally, we got 2 more talents here, Mallocator, or 3 more talents here. We've got Efficient Killer for extra crit, because crits are really, really good. Mallocator for additional cooldown reduction, meaning our overall cooldown is about 8 seconds if you're consistently killing and getting good charges. And then not far behind, every time the dog pounces, we get 10% movement speed and 10% damage. So if you kind of take it as a whole picture, if the dog pounces an elite target and then kills them, we are going to get 10% movement speed, 10% damage. We're going to get 25% damage resistance, and we're going to get another 10% movement speed and 10% damage. All right, and now for a quick demonstration of just how crazy this dog's damage can get. What you need to have up for him to have maximum damage is he needs to have killed a marked target or attacked a marked target in the last 8 seconds. We need to attack our primary target and do a charge. And you can see there, we're doing 1,000 damage on a lunge, as opposed to 300 at the base damage. This also applies to bosses, so just simply get a marked target killed. Just go kill that guy. I'm gonna get this boss softened up. When he's finished over there, go ahead and throw my charge out, get the dog over here, and we're doing almost 2,000 damage on a bite. So the dog does some hefty damage if you can get all these buffs at the same time, which are pretty easy to do. And that's the whole build. So I really hope you enjoy. Go have fun with it. This was one of the more fun builds. I love watching the dog do his own little thing. I've always loved minions in the games. Remember to like and subscribe, and enjoy this footage of myself running a dog-focused build and clearing some solo orc damnation. Enjoy!
Wake
and using the bonk stick here. I don't have any friends though, so I'm gonna have to rely on these bots, or more likely just do it myself. Let's see if I can do it with this this little crappy stick weapon. Conventional wisdom would say that this weapon isn't gonna be good enough. Sorry, bots. I don't care.
Lamentable condition.
Nothing more from that Let the veterans of the touch the priorities.
Keep trying to look at this thing. There we go. We need some of this. Some of that. Can my dog kill the trapper? Oh, here. That'd be nice. Oh, grenades. How much I even get behind me in that amount of time? Stop. Bye, Mr. Dog. I always loved you. No, what the fuck? How'd that hit me? I pushed it back. I'll just kill everything. Jesus. Every time I go for this juice, I just get my ass beat. There we go.
Activate Ascender D16. Proceed to upper levels. The Ascender will take some time to arrive. Survival is recommended.
Oh, I should say that. Look, I can get additional coherency by playing near my downed allies. Yay. These versions are sneaky as fuck today. The thing's almost dead.
Ascender D16. Deployed. Ingress. Feasible.
Spicy. Spicy pizza.
Proceed through Haplog HL 1866. 123 with all speed.
Hello?
Congratulations, Arbites.
Playing a game?
Official enforcement station TN8707.
What about you?
I've never adapted.
Ready to record a game for the day.
Even the adamant cannot endure alone.
This is my new move. You can start the shock stab while you charge. So they get stunned off the back of your charge. Look at that. Isn't that cool? This doesn't do any damage. I disagree. Turns out it does have a damaging ability. Where are the enemies? I feel like we had a crazy part in the middle there, and now it's just empty.
You do know you're on the wrong floor. You need penitentiary elevator 3.
Just that flashback!
What the fuck? Get away from me. That's fine. He swipes at the dog? Is that how that works? Oh, throw me away, throw me away, throw me away. He swipes at the dog! That's huge! That's absolutely massive, so you can't get munched by a chaos spawn. Retrieve this.
Elevator access granted. Present your crypt key.
What the aiming? Holy shit. It's difficult. Thanks, dog. You're helping. Stop the talk. And there you go. nice solo run through. Hopefully a good demonstration of some of the power this class has.